We're gonna start off with the college football. Like, who you think is gonna make the college football playoffs? That's gonna be the first thing because it's the top four right now, right?
Yeah. I think one more year or 2 more years they gonna spend it to 12.
I think it's 2 more
right now.
No, 2 more years. I think it's 2026.
Yeah.
I
They trying to make it 2024. Now they trying to, but I don't think they did a final vote on that yet.
Yeah, they're trying to push it up to 2024. That's the last. I think it's 2026, but I think they're trying to vote on pushing it up, which
okay.
I think they should. You know, I would love it. What's it? 12 teams?
Yeah, they trying to do 12 teams. So what will happen is it
would have to be the winners from each.
The winner of each conference and the winner of the AAC would be we'll get the six little buys or whatever, the conference champions. And then what they'll do is they'll rewrite the other 6, as they'll get in as at-large bids, and they'll go from there.
But it's only 4 buys though, right?
Yeah, I think it's only 4 buys.
But it's
a mess?
It's kind of flawed because the 4 teams that get a bye, even though they get a bye, they don't get a home game like the first.
Right, you're still doing the neutral sites.
Neutral sites.
Well, I think the other games are home games, right?
Yeah, the other games I think are 1 or 2 campuses.
That's kind of strange. Like if you're a 5 seed,
why don't you get the bye? You get the
bye is a home game. The bye just get neutral.
I mean, you can't, because with college you can't do it like the NFL. That's how they doing it. You can't do it like that. So it had to be at these specific bowl games or whatever. Like it'd be like a bowl game site, but they'll be the home team, but it won't be at their field.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be considered the home team, but it won't be at their field. But what they'll probably do is to make them feel more comfortable or at peace with it, they'll try to make it at a site closer to their, to their home, to their school, so that it's essentially a home game without being on their campus.
Got it.
Like for instance, if it's Georgia, you'll put it at, Atlanta Stadium. You know what I'm saying? If it was like Clemson, they would put it at like Carolina Stadium or somewhere like that, so make them feel like it's more of a home game, like make them feel comfortable.
They wouldn't, it's not a bowl. They're not doing bowls for the.
No, they are, but what I'm saying is, like you said, it wouldn't be their home site, so they wouldn't get a home game.
Okay. I thought you were talking about for the teams that get a bye.
Yeah. I was talking after the bye. Now I'm saying after the bye, how they probably going to do it is they'll put it at those neutral sites, but they'll put it closer to their respective schools or their stadiums so that they get kind of like the hometown feel.
I see. Yeah.
So right now, and look, we starting off right. Like right now, the top 12 schools would be, it'll be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC, Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Washington, Clemson, LSU, and Utah. Yeah, it might be interesting. it might be now. It'll be interesting because definitely LSU can play good. But it'll be interesting if they did it this year, but I know they're doing it. So, Mo, I'm going to start off with you, man. College playoff right now, we knew we just were talking about the 12-team scenario, but that's going to come in the future, so we can't worry about that now. But out of the top 4, Mo, do you see all 4 making the playoffs?
I do. I mean, I see all 4 making it. I think the toughest game is, USC. That's gonna be a tough game with Utah, but I can see these 4 getting in. The trip bag is going to be if USC or TCU loses and they put Ohio State in, they want to put them at 4 because they don't want a Michigan. They wouldn't want a Michigan Ohio State rematch first round in the playoffs. That to me is like why. Yeah. So they're going to try to remove right now. Their worst nightmare would be let's say Georgia lose, Michigan wins, and
I feel like if Georgia and
USC
Michigan
want to lose.
are straight, I think even if they
No, they
lose,
straight. But
they're
what I'm
gonna get
saying
it.
is, if Georgia was to lose and Michigan was to win, now Michigan would move up to number one. And now what happens if one of them other teams like TCU or USC loses? Would you put Ohio State in there as a 4 and have them play Michigan first round in a rematch with the Big Ten in your first round matchup? I don't think for money purposes they would do that. I think they almost would rather see that in the national championship game, like how the Alabama Georgia thing fell down. I don't think they would want to see that rematch in the semifinal.
Because it could be, you're right. If TCU loses and USC loses, couldn't it be Ohio State and Alabama make it?
If they did that, it'd be for money purposes. It wouldn't be because they deserve it. I hate to say this, but I feel like TCU's strength of record or strength of schedule, plus the fact that they went to their conference championship game, you gotta look at Alabama. You didn't even bring your side. Nevertheless, you didn't go to your conference championship game. How do you deserve to get in as a top 14?
Yeah.
I understand people will sit there and say, well, the SEC is the best of the best. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Like, I ain't trying to hear that. Like, I feel like that's not fair to that team. They were in the top 4 all the season. Now they lose, you want to let a 2-loss team get ahead of them? Like that, nah, I don't,
Craig, do you think all 4 get in? You think Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC get in?
I think I'm going to lean, but I think TCU. I think TCU and USC have tough games. TCU beat Kansas State earlier. I think they beat them by like 10 or something like that. And Utah beat USC earlier this season. So, and TCU has had a lot of close games. A lot of games they had to come back in. A couple games ago, they won on the last second field goal. So I'm not convinced that they're going to just go in and blow out, or not blow out, just beat Kansas State. Same thing with USC. I do think USC has some obviously revenge because this is a get back game for them, but that's not a gimme either. I think Georgia. I think regardless of Georgia and Michigan, even if they lose, just because they don't have any losses and they're sitting at 1 and 2, I think they're fine to still make it. I guess the biggest question to me is, would Alabama jump Ohio State? Because Ohio State just got blown out, especially in the second half by Michigan versus Alabama. I know they have 2 losses, but they lost one game by 1 point and one game
close.
And that was a game on a 2-point conversion to win, and then they lost a last second field goal game by 3. So they lost 2 games by 4 points.
Close, yeah, it was close.
So I mean, and just looking at both of these teams, they're both championship contending type teams, but maybe just looking at the strength of schedule, I probably would I think it leans towards Alabama. So I mean, you got to probably throw Alabama in there if
they could do it,
or USC slips up. I think you have to throw Alabama in there. Now they'll probably, I think they'll probably end up playing Georgia, a team they haven't seen this year. So it's not like it'll be a rematch or something like that. It'll just be 2 SEC schools that haven't seen each other since the last year in the championship game. So it's going to be interesting to see. I kind of want to see either USC or TCU lose just to see what happens. See what the committee does, because I know TCU doesn't have any losses, and I think this will be the first one if they do. I don't think this is going to be enough to keep them into the playoff. So if I had to pick a team to lose, I probably would go with TCU, but I don't know. I think TCU is probably going to still be able to win the game and make it. I think all 4 teams get in, and Ohio State and Alabama are on the outside looking out.
Yeah, you know what? This would be like very interesting because this would be the first time in a long time that Alabama and Ohio State aren't like in the playoff. But I do want to see what happens because if USC loses and TCU loses, there's going to be a conversation. Alabama, it could be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Alabama. That's what it could be. That's what I'm looking at right now. But I think USC. I think they pull it out. The Utah game was early. It's going to be tough, but I think they can win it. I think USC wins it, and I'm not going to lie. It'll be very interesting to see Georgia, Michigan, TCU, or USC in the playoffs. That'll be interesting because it'll be something a little different. But I'm with you, Craig. I think so. I'm at like an impasse. Like I want to see those four make it because it's different, and this is what college football is lacking. Some diversity. That's why people love the NFL because it's every year it's different. It's not, Alabama. Like you have teams like the Chiefs, but they lose the championship to Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how the NFL is. You got a team like Miami this year balling and wasn't balling last year. So, and you got teams that were good last year that sucked this year. But I do want to see if TCU or USC lose, then it could be Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama in the playoff. And I don't even think nobody would be really mad. I don't think anybody would be like, oh my goodness. It'll be like, well, I don't think there's anything else that they could do. So it'll be very interesting. So Craig, I'm gonna start off with you this, man. Zach Wilson, after those comments that he made, right? And was like, no, didn't blame the offensive struggles, didn't take any accountability. He got benched. Then he came out with an apology with his teammates after he talked to his father. And I get it. He's a young guy. He's young. He's benched for Mike White. Mike White goes out and has a balls out. Balls out. In the rain, by the way. Do you agree with the benching of Zach Wilson? And do you ever think he'll play for the Jets again?
Well, yeah, I do agree with the bench. He wasn't. His team was winning. If you look at the record, his team was 5-2. They only lost to the Patriots twice. So he had a big win in there against the Bills, huge win. A big win in there against the Packers on the road in Green Bay. So, and against the Dolphins, the team that's 8-3. But it wasn't because of him. It was because of the running game and because of the defense. And some of the breaks that he got playing the Steelers, who they were going through their quarterback thing. I think Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett both played in that game. So I think they benched Trubisky for Pickett. Trubisky threw 1 interception, Pickett threw 3. That was his first time basically getting any clock in the regular season. So there was 4 picks right there from that team. They win the game. Then they played the Dolphins, who didn't have Teddy Bridgewater. After Tua got hurt, Teddy Bridgewater gets hurt like the first play or the first series, and then Skylar Thompson comes in. They blow the Dolphins out. Big win on the road against the Packers, but we know their struggles. Still Aaron Rodgers. That's a big win though. The Broncos are horrible, so there. And then you got the Bills. The Bills game was a big win, but once again, it was because of the defense. And also because of I'm gonna put a lot of stock into it, but Josh Allen got hurt in that game. And he hasn't looked the same pretty much since that game. Like his are mediocre, or they're Zach Wilson numbers basically. Like he's not playing the same. So I say all that to say that he does deserve to get benched, even though the team has won 5 of 7. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it wasn't because of him. It was because of the defense and because of the running game. Unfortunately, Breece Hall went down with an injury. And they went out and they traded for James Robinson, thinking that was going to solve everything or whatever. And the running game is still solid. Him and Carter, they're still producing, but it's not the same as it was when Hall and Carter were there. Just looking at the numbers from Zach Wilson, 4 touchdowns, 5 picks. His passer ratings are 72.6. His completion percentage is 55, and his QBRs are 44. He's only averaging 182 yards a game, which is, I mean, as a start, I get it's his second season, and I understand that there's still going to be growing pains, and he's coming off of an injury where he didn't start and all that stuff. And I mean, but at the same time, like I think as a starting quarterback in the league, I would assume that you have some type of growth, and there hasn't been really any growth for him. And I think the comments that he made previously in the after the game against the Patriots, where he just couldn't ball at all, I just thought he didn't take any responsibility, didn't take any accountability for that. And I mean, it shows. So I think he deserved to get benched. I didn't know they were going to go with Mike White. I thought they were going to go with Flacco. But even still, I mean, and just looking at the game for White, like it wasn't like they played a big name team. Like they played without Justin Fields. So the team is a totally different team with Fields out of the lineup. I mean, so I don't really put a lot of stock into that game either. I think coming up this week, I can't remember who they're playing this week, but they got the Vikings. So if they can beat the Vikings, I mean, the Vikings, I don't think they're that good anyway, but it'll still be a big win against, from what it looks like, a fully healthy team with a quarterback that starts, a running back, 2 wide receivers. So, and also one more thing. Zach Wilson has 0 3 touchdown games in his career. Mike White has 2. Joe Flacco has 1. Josh Johnson has 1. As far as quarterbacks who have started since Zach Wilson got drafted for the New York Jets. And I mean, Mike
White's only played in what? 4 games?
He's played in a handful of games. I mean, but even Josh Johnson has played in a handful of games. Zach Wilson is the guy, and he still hasn't had a 3 touchdown game. So there's some other stats out there that I saw too, but Zach Wilson just doesn't get it done. So as far as being a starter for next year, I would say he's probably going to be in a quarter. I mean, I would probably just throw him out there in the quarterback competition, especially if Mike White finishes the season strong and maybe can lead
the season. Go to the playoffs. Or
even if they go like win 9 games. I mean, part of that's going to be. It's just, I mean, I would definitely have a quarterback. I know Wilson is your number 2 pick and all that, but I would definitely try to have like some type of quarterback competition, because maybe Zach Wilson is just not the guy for this team, just like Sam Darnold was.
Yeah. So 2 things about Zach Wilson. Number 1, all the stats you said are exactly right. I wasn't sold on him in the first place. When they were like, he's going with Zach Wilson, I was like, what? He didn't play anybody at BYU during the COVID season. I can see why San Francisco got Trey Lance, because I can see the potential. I don't see any potential in Zach Wilson. I don't. He threw 1 big bomb, and then he was the second pick. And it's just like, what? Can you imagine if they chose Justin Fields there? Golly, man. They have a field day. No pun intended. All right, so, but I'm just saying, like, I think he's immature. And the crazy thing is, if he would have just taken accountability, like, it's on me. And the offensive struggles, I got to get better. Yeah, of course you got to get better. But just say that. Just say it. You're in a position to be you're the face of the franchise. You're the quarterback. The quarterback is the face of the franchise. So I think he's done, especially if Mike White has a big year. Craig, I mean, they're probably going with a quarterback battle. And then he was sulking on the bench, like looking like a child. Here's the thing that we know about the NFL. All that not taking accountability and sulking on the bench, you'll be a backup, and then you won't be in the NFL. You'll be like, damn, what happened to Zach Wilson? Because people's jobs depend on this. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with the benching. I wasn't sold on him. I don't know why they picked him number 2. They've had all these other great draft picks. That might have been a miss, but a miss could cost people jobs, And I don't know if he plays again. If Mike White has a strong finish to the season, I don't know if they bring him back as a full-time starter and see what they got, or go get Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if Zach Wilson. I don't know. I don't know, man. Mo, what you think? You agree with the benching of Zach Wilson?
Absolutely. First of all, Robert Saleh, the head coach, he's either benched or dealt with disciplinary action with anybody else who's spoken against the team or who has been disrespectful. So he had to keep that going. Secondly, if we look at I was looking up their last 4 games. Their last 4 games before the game.
Don't do it.
Before the game, they just played against the Bears.
Brutal.
They only scored 16 points against the Broncos. They won, but still only 16 points. You only scored 17 points against the Patriots. You lost. You only scored 20 points against the Bills. Okay, you pulled it out. And then you had the game where you only scored 3 points against the Patriots. You have that 4-game stretch against AFC opponents, and you're in a playoff race, and you respond the way he responded. He had to bench him. And if you look at it though, you being a defensive coach, and outside of Wilson and maybe Wilson, both the Wilsons, that team was built on defense. Like they brought a lot of defensive pieces, and that defense has been balling. And as you being a defensive head coach, how was you gonna go back to them people if how he responded and look them in the eye and let that man keep playing after he said that, how he said it?
So it was crazy when he said that.
Like it was, and one thing that blew me though, one thing that kind of upset me about the whole thing, shout out to Boogerman Father, no disrespect, but how he responded to it from a standpoint of he was brought up around money, he didn't know no better about accountability.
No,
I can't give you that.
No,
I can't give you that.
No.
Because, and the one reason I'm gonna say you can't give you that is one, he's played quarterback his whole life. 2, the school he went to. BYU is gonna hold you accountable. You're not walking around BYU just saying and doing whatever you want to and acting however you want to in this kind of swag, woe is me, I'm head of the world type of person.
What sense does that make? I can't believe that.
Yeah, I'm like, he come from money, he don't know that.
Maybe Patrick Mahomes comes from money.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't give him that.
What does that make sense?
Yeah, I couldn't give him that pass. I can't give him that, he don't know no better type of pass, especially being that quarterback position. You play quarterback.
The Mannings come from money, and you don't never hear them talk like that. What
come on,
about character, man? Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
man.
So it's I don't think he gets his job back unless Mike White just comes out and just looks terrible in the game, or like just downright awful. But then some people might look at it as, so the only reason you didn't take out what's the name out, you didn't take him out because Jack Wilson out because he was number 2 pick. Because if Mike White go out there and have a bad game and you yank him, it's like, how do you yank him, but you didn't yank Wilson when he looked god awful against the Patriots? So it's gonna look bad regardless. I think it will have to be Mike White playing multiple bad games, not just one. I think that would be a bad look if they snatch Mike White out at the first sign of a bad game, because some people might look at it as, well, why you didn't snatch Wilson out when he was playing god awful against New England?
I think he's gonna rock. It looks like they might rock with him. They said the locker room likes him. They might rock with him the rest of the season.
Man, they made the playoffs. If they made the playoffs, Wilson might not be there next year. Honestly, I hate to say it. Number 2 pick, they don't even going to get to his 3rd year, but
and then I mean, they could try to trade him, but I don't know who's going to take him.
I mean, somebody would take it off potential, but he
I don't see any potential. I don't even understand. I don't see potential. He does nothing stands out. He's small.
I get that, James. But we've seen it. We've seen
he has
it
a bad
with
attitude.
But I get what you're saying. But we've seen it before with a lot of old coordinators, and a lot of people think like, I can do it. I can change the attitude. I can do this with him. I can do that with him. We've seen a lot of that. You know.
Unfortunately, it could be like Sam Darnold. But the thing about Sam Darnold, right? Here's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's likable. Sam Darnold's never going to be like, it's the defense. You know what I'm saying? He's likable. He's always going to have a job as a backup in the NFL because he's
we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. What's the
yeah. I'm going to start off with this one. This is interesting thing because we got to talk about it because it's here and it's happening. So Deshaun Watson makes his NFL debut against the Texans. Also, Craig, some of the victims are going to be attending the game. I don't know if you heard that or not. For Deshaun Watson. I don't really have any expectations for Watson. I mean, he hasn't played football in like 2 years. I don't see the Browns going to the playoffs. So I think this is a good time for Watson to get his football legs back under him. Learn the playbook. He could have a stretch of 4 bad games. I don't care. He just needs to be out there playing. Unfortunately, with the situation. But we're past it now. He just needs to go out and play. There's no expectations. He hasn't played football in like almost 2 years. So now next year is different. It's a different expectation because he'll have a full off season, and he's coming into the season now, week 12. So he'll have 5 games to, get his legs under him. So I don't have any expectations. Mo, Deshaun Watson makes his debut. You have any expectations?
I don't. I expect that Roger Dale need to be there as some security, but it would be a bad look if Roger Dale is not there and they don't beef security up for him, especially if he's starting. But honestly, if I'm Cleveland, I would keep my same running game. I would keep my same offense. The one thing I probably would do is give him some design runs, and I would run like a lot of bootleg play actions, let him get out of the pocket, stuff like that. But I wouldn't have him sitting there trying to drop him back 30, 40 times.
That's a good point.
Just to prove a point, just to prove a point against the Texans.
I would love to see him but I think they're gonna offense. I would love to see him with the fancy offense.
Right. I want to see him I want to see him run the offense. Don't try to, overdo it just to make him pad his stats. Like run your offense, like run the ball, play action, get him on the bootleg, let it come, let the game flow to him. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that. And I think this is your opportunity just to give a glimpse of what it could be next year. Like this is your opportunity just to show it off, because let's just be honest, playoffs ain't no option. You ain't going to playoffs. They too far behind. Even if they're going to run, it ain't no playoffs.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like at this point, it's like, you're building for next year. You're trying to build a chemistry, you're trying to build camaraderie, trying to get the energy going. I think that's my expectations. This for them to run their scheme, get him comfortable, and do what they gotta do to go on the run to kind of prove point for next year that we're gonna be a team to look out for.
Craig, Deshaun Watson makes his NFL debut, man. Any expectations?
I have expectations for this game, at least. They're playing his former team. I expect him to want to at least to go out there and throw the ball 20 to 30 times.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I don't. I mean, if this was another team, maybe like I don't know,
like the Cardinals or the Rams or something.
Any other team. The fact that he's coming back against the Texans and it's in Houston, and everything that happened there, I kind of expect him to want to at least throw the ball 20 to 30 times. I expect him to want to. I mean, anything after this, I really don't know, because it's. After that point, you're playing with house money, and as long as he can stay healthy. So I guess I just want him to, go out there, stay healthy, see what you can run, build for next season, get the chemistry with your receivers, chemistry with your running backs, your tight ends or whatever, the offensive line, get all that worked out in the last six games of the season, and then go into next season with a better understanding and a higher expectation, because he's going to be there to start the whole 17 games. But at least for me, just for this one game, I kind of expect there to be a lot of pressure on him, a lot of boos, a lot of trying to just drain everything out and just go out there and play football. And he might be putting a lot of pressure on himself, because he is coming back for the first time in almost 2 years. He is coming back against his former team. And he is coming back in Houston, where you just say there's going to be a lot of victims there and a lot of people there that probably don't like him anymore and all this other stuff. So He's probably putting a lot of pressure on himself, but as far as the organization, like y'all said, they're not going to the playoffs. I see it anyway. I think they could probably make a run since he's at quarterback, but I don't even think it's about that. I just think it's about just getting your feet back, getting the rhythm down, getting everything basically for next season.
Yeah,
and from there. But I do expect them to. I do expect them to win this game.
Yes, convincingly. Yes,
and I just expect them to have a good game and then go from there.
Yeah, I know when we were talking about the head coaches being fired, that's why I don't believe he fires Stefanski. I want to see him with Deshaun. Now next year, if they suck, I would get rid of them. But I want to see Stefanski's offense run by Deshaun Watson. Because to be honest with you, they got a decent team. They got Njoku, Peoples, Cooper, two good running backs. Well, Hunt probably won't be there next year, but Chubb's a great running back. Good old line. They got pieces on defense, so I want to see them fully healthy next year. Next year, it's that's one of the teams that I would expect to be in the playoff. Okay, Mo. The Bucs, they lost to the Browns, brother, in overtime. But they still, even with their 6th loss, they still lead the division. Do you think the Bucs win a division? And if they do, how far will they go in the playoffs?
This tough because it's Brady, but I'm gonna say yes to winning the division. That division is terrible. I think if they beat New Orleans, it would almost put it out of its misery. They beat New Orleans. I think that's a Monday night game or Sunday night game, and now it's a Monday night one. I think
it's a Monday night.
Yeah, I think that's the Monday night game. I think
it's Monday night.
Which I think they should take both of those off prime time if they flex the games. But that's either there. Both of those Sunday night and Monday night games, I think they need to switch them out. But that's either
it should be Kansas City. And the Dolphins. Yeah. But or Titans and Eagles. Yeah.
But I think that they want to win the division just off the fact that division is terrible. They got the most talent across the board in that division. And I just don't believe in Andy Dalton or Marcus Mariota to be able to win enough games to get over that hump over them. But honestly, I can see them losing first round. I mean, because if they win this division, looking at it right now, they're probably going to be the 4th seed, unless they just go on a main run. So now that puts them against Dallas. Right now, I don't see them against Dallas. If they can't run the ball and run play action, if they got to sit there with Tom Brady throwing the ball 35 times against that Dallas front right now, they're going to be in trouble. They'll get hurt. Brady might not make the whole game. He might ain't finish the game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see them even getting out of the first round. I see them winning the division, but I don't even see them getting out of the first round right now.
Craig, what you think? Do you think you're an NFC South guy, which I didn't expect this to be the division to look like the NFC least, which it does. But I'm surprised. But Craig, do you think the Bucs still win the division? And if they do, how far are they going to playoffs?
I think they still win the division. I think their remaining schedule is pretty easy. They only have San Francisco and Cincinnati left, basically, that has a winning record. So they also have Atlanta again, who's right behind them. So I think they'll find a way to finish maybe like 9-8. Even if they finish 8-9, I think Atlanta is 1-3 in the division. So versus Tampa, who's 2-1, Carolina's 3-1. So I don't think, unless Atlanta can win these last 2 games in their division, they play Tampa Bay again and they play New Orleans. I mean, they'll finish at that point 3-3. But I think they'll probably slip up one of those games, which is probably going to be the Tampa game, and that's going to be a very important game, last game of the season for them, because it might determine who wins that division. So But I think they'll figure out a way. They have too much talent not to win this division. Too much talent not to figure out a way to make a run to the playoffs. But every time at least for me, every time I think they're going to make a run, they end up losing the game, like to the Browns. So, I just don't really have. I don't really. I thought that maybe they'd go to the Super Bowl or at least the NFC Championship game this year, but I don't have any high expectations. I think they'll finish fourth. I don't think they're going to catch San Francisco at this point, or even Seattle if they win the division. And if they had to match up against a team like right now Dallas, or maybe even if it's the Giants, I'm not going to put, or even the Commanders. Like I wouldn't put any of those. I would put all three of those teams above Tampa Bay right now. I just think the way they're playing right now, the defense for all three of those teams, especially the Cowboys and the Commanders, and then you have just I don't know, they're playing a lot better on offense as well. Like as far Tampa just has too much talent not to be better than 5 and 6, but that's what they are. So I think this is the first round exit, even though it'll be a home game for them.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter because they're 3-3 at home. So. I just think it's the first round, especially if they play Dallas. I think Dallas has obviously they played them early in the season. It's not the same Dallas team that was early in the season. And as soon as that gets he still has some more games to go to start building that confidence. But I mean, just about everybody, especially everybody that's in the playoffs hunt, out of the 7 teams, all the quarterbacks are playing, including Jimmy Garoppolo. And I never thought I'd say that. So. No, I don't have any. I don't think they're going to go too far.
Yeah. Man, this is very interesting because I'm right. Listen, this is Tom Brady in a weak division. Craig, I thought that they were going to have the number 1 seed. I think you did too. Either number 1 or number 2. No, at the beginning of the season, what seed you had them at? 3?
I had the Eagles, I think, at 1. I think I had the
Eagles at 2.
I think
I
I
had Packers at 1.
I think I had Tampa Bay.
I had the Packers at 1.
I think I might have had them at 2, I think.
Yeah, but they were up there. I thought they were going to have a good record. So I think they're going to be 11-5, 12-4. Now it's like I don't know, and it's very odd to me. And the defense is playing well. The problem is Tom Brady and the offense, and they're not playing up to their potential, and they look bad. Like losing to the Browns, I was like, what? This is. I was like, oh, I got to talk about this because this isn't normal. I'm not used to seeing Tom Brady limp into the playoffs with the losing record. And this isn't like the year they won the Super Bowl where now their offense is clicking. It doesn't seem like their offense is clicking. Like, we're going to be honest here. The Browns don't have a world beater defense. With that talent on their offense, Tom Brady should have been feasted, but he didn't. And this year I don't know, man. He's not averaging. They average 17 points a game. They just don't look the same. And I'm with you, man. If they win the division, I think they do. But there might be 7-9 or 8-8 or 8-9. You know what I'm saying? Or 9-8, and they're going to be first round exits. I don't care if they're going against Kirk Cousins, they're going to lose. I don't care if they're going against Dallas. They're going to get Dallas is going to demolish them the way Dallas is playing right now. Dallas is going to demolish them. Easy. And I'm not saying that like I listen. I'm a Commanders fan. Dallas looks like they might go to the bowl this year. I'm not even going to lie. Their defense is playing lights out. I just hate to say it. It's they're averaging.
Me and Todd got an argument about that yesterday about which one between them and San Fran who posed the biggest threat to Philly. We got to argument about that yesterday. Like who between them two?
The Cowboys.
think it's
I said San Fran because I felt like San Fran
defense.
Their overall speed.
Yeah.
I'm not
really. I don't know. Well, they play each other, so we're gonna see. I just know with Dak there, the Texans are averaging 30 points a game, and their defense is playing like I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know. They play Tampa, they're gonna blow them out. Yeah, they play each other. I think Dallas is gonna win too.
San Francisco hasn't really played anybody the last 4 weeks.
No,
I mean,
they played the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Saints. I mean, they played the Chargers.
They got a test this week, so we're gonna see.
Yeah. If they do what they been doing against Miami, oh my goodness.
Well, we're gonna see, but the Dallas and I think I'm agree with Todd on this one. Because I think Dallas, I think they beat the Eagles next time they play. Because Dallas lost to them when they had Cooper Rush. I think with Dak, Dak has a good record in the division. He's a good divisional record. I think they beat Philly. But I like Craig said, if Tampa Bay goes against Dallas, the game's gonna be over by halftime. They're gonna get to Tom Brady. Michael Parsons is gonna show out, and they're gonna beat Tampa Bay bad. But I mean, maybe Tom Brady comes back, maybe he doesn't. But this year, I don't think it went as expected as he wanted it to.
There's a lot going on down
there. Okay, speaking about the playoffs, right now, the number 1 seed in the AFC is Chiefs. The number 2 seed is the Dolphins. Number 3 seed is the Titans. Number 4 seed is the Ravens. Number 5 seed is the Bills. Number 6 seed is the Bengals. Number 7 seed is the Jets. NFC got the Eagles at number 1, Vikings at number 2, 49ers at number 3, Buccaneers at number 4, Cowboys at number 5, the Giants at number 6, Commanders at number 7. Craig, do you see all those teams making it to the playoffs in the AFC? And if not, which team do you see them getting replaced with?
I'm still sticking with what I said the last time we talked about this, which is I had the Jets out and I had the Chargers in. Mm-hmm. So I'm sticking with that. I think I'm sticking with I'm sticking with the Chiefs at 1. I got the Bills at 2. Although that could go either way because they finished tied and the Bills get 1, but I'm sticking with that. 3, I got the Ravens. I don't know why. I'm really down on the Ravens. I got the Titans at 4. I got the Dolphins 5, the Bengals 6, and the Chargers 7. I don't really believe in the Jets still. I'm still not sold on the Jets. I know they just had a big win. But I think I just don't mean they're still the Jets. I mean, they haven't been good in years. So I'm not a full-on believer. Plus, I look at the schedule and they got 4 of their 6 games left on the road, and they're 4 tough games. The Vikings,
they got a tough schedule.
I mean, and they even got the Jaguars at home who just beat the Ravens, and they got the Lions at home who've been playing tough and they won 3 games in a row before losing to the Bills in an overtime game. So, I mean, it's the NFL though. You never know what's going to happen, but maybe. But I'm just not buying the Jets right now. So I'm out on them. The Chargers, I don't know why. I just picked them early in the season. I'm sticking with them until they prove me wrong. They had a big one last week, so I gotta stick with them for now.
Yeah, and to your point, I think the Chargers probably have a better schedule. I think
they do have an easier
schedule. I was like, man, I don't know about that. All right, what about the NFC?
I'm sticking with the same. Well, 6 of the same teams. I'm still. I love how the Commanders are playing, even though I'm not a fan of the team, and I got to deal with it around this area. But I just think that, I mean, look at the strength of schedule, which was before the season started, they had one of the easiest strength of schedules. Now they have, according to this website, they have the 3rd toughest strength of schedule.
Who the Commanders, right?
Yeah, it's the Giants.
Yeah.
The Bears had the second toughest, and the Commanders had the third toughest.
We got a tough schedule.
To do with divisional games.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I think I still have the Eagles 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna stick with the Vikings at 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going 49ers 3, Bucs 4, Cowboys 5, Giants 6. Pretty much the same 6, and then I got the Seahawks still 7. I just think the Seahawks have an easier schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the Rams are going to do these last couple games. They're losing players left and right. They also have, I mean, they had the Chiefs in there, and they also have the 49ers in there, which is a divisional game. So that could, they got the Jets in there, but that's a home game, and they got the Panthers in there. I think if they could win 3 or 4 of those games, I think that'll be 10 wins. That's 10-7. Yep. I think Washington could also finish 10-7, but if they both finish 10-7, depending on what games Washington loses and Seattle loses, it goes by strength in the division.
Yeah, right? It's tough. We got tough. It's tough, man.
It depends, and I mean, maybe Seattle has a better divisional record than Commanders. Who knows? But that's what I'm sticking with. I do like what the Commanders are doing. They started to figure out their running games strength. Taylor Heinicke's not really turning the ball over like he used to do, and they're finding ways to win. They're not putting up a lot of points, but their defense is showing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just think I'm sticking with Seattle just because 2 weeks ago, once again, I picked them, and I just think they have an easier strength of schedule. And but you know, Washington definitely has a chance to get in. I think it'll be pretty much down to those 2 teams. I don't really see any other team making a run for that 7th spot or 6th spot, depending on what the Giants do. So that's what I'm
doing. All right, Mo.
I looking at this right now. I like the AFC as is right now. I'll take the AFC as is right now. I'll take the AFC as is. The only reason I don't like it, I think Dolphins are going to win that division. That would be my only question mark. Would be Dolphins at 2, but I think Dolphins are going to win the division.
Oh, okay. Right, that's what I'm talking about, Mo. I like that.
The one thing I don't like about these playoffs staying like it is now is I think Baltimore will go home first round. Even with them being at home, I think Buffalo will beat them first round. I'm just being honest. I think Bengals will beat the Titans in a playoff game right now, even in Tennessee again. So and honestly, I just think I love what people have done. I know they're not going to double up, but definitely if Kansas City gets the number 1 seed, Mahomes should get Player of the Year, MVP for how they was just thinking Kansas City was going to take that. A lot of these analysts were thinking Kansas City was going to take a major drop off without Tyreek Hill. And the fact that they look almost more dangerous than they ever have is mind-boggling. For the NFC, I would keep the Eagles at 1. I would move I think the Vikings might filter out, but they're going to win that division. So I'm going to move San Fran up to 2. I would put Vikings at 3, Tampa at 4, Dallas at 5. I would put us at 6, and I'm going to go Seattle. I'm going to go Seattle at 7. I think Giants are going to not make it.
Oh, I like that.
Now, here's the issue in play. And the reason I'm saying that is because Seattle's next 2 games are critical. They got the Panthers, they got the Rams and the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
They got the Rams and the Panthers. After that, they got a 3-game stretch where they have San Fran, Kansas City, and the Jets. So they might want to win both of these next 2 games.
Yeah.
It's critical with us, these next 2 against the Giants. We got Giants.
Very critical.
Yeah, we got the Giants, Giants.
The Giants.
Cleveland. I believe Cleveland. I know we got San Francisco on Christmas Eve.
And we got Dallas again.
Yeah, then we got Dallas again in the season.
We got to beat those 2. We got to win those 2 against the Giants if we want to go to the playoffs.
Yeah. So I truly believe we're going to get in.
And I think for the Giants, it's the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the Giants is, man, as long as we don't let Saquon get us. Like, as long as we don't let Saquon get going, if we don't let Saquon kill us, which he has.
Heinicke owns the Giants, though.
Saquon has hurt us since he got in the league, but As long as we shut him down, I think we'll be all right. So yeah, I think a couple of these places are gonna flop. I think the Vikings and the 49ers are gonna flop, but I think we're gonna get in. Tampa staying at 4, the Cowboys at 5 is a bad matchup. That might be the worst matchup for them out of all the wild card teams.
For Tampa and Dallas? Yeah, Dallas gonna win that. They're gonna win it.
And I think, honestly, I know this might surprise people. If we see the Vikings get first round, I think we can get them.
Yeah.
I think we can get them. I think we can look at the fact that we should have beat them the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We were right there. We made some mistakes. And I think we can get the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that's my take right there. I think Seattle's gonna get it.
Mo, I like that. Now here's the Giants games. They got the Washington, then they have the Eagles, then they have Washington again, then they have the Vikings, then they have the Colts. And the Colts they're not an easy win. You're not just gonna, but the Colts play tough defense and they play close. And then they got the Eagles. So I might have to agree with you on the Giants. But for the AFC, I agree with you. I think Bill Dolphins got a tough schedule, man. And they're gonna start playing in the cold. I think they play the Bills in Buffalo in the cold. I do have the Bills winning the division, but it's going to be really close because I got to see how Miami holds up in the cold weather. They're going to have to really depend on running the ball. So let's see if they do. And Jeff Wilson Jr. is balling. So I have the Chiefs, Bills, Titans. Still have the Ravens. I know they lost to the Jaguars, but they have like the easiest schedule. I think they probably win out, maybe lose one more. Then I would have the Dolphins at 5. And then I would have the Bengals at 6. And I agree with Craig. I think I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think the Jets kind of just miss out. I think they miss out by one game. They got a tough schedule coming up, man. But I might be wrong, but I think the Chargers schedule is a little bit softer, and I think the Chargers pull through and make the playoffs. NFC, I got the Eagles, and then I got the Vikings at number 2. I got the 49ers number 3, the Bucs at number 4, the Cowboys at number 5, and I agree with Mo. I think the Giants don't make it. I think they don't score enough points, and teams are starting to figure them out. I think the Commanders, I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I think the Commanders make it, but I think the Seahawks make it instead of the Giants. I think the Commanders, I think the Seahawks, because then the Seahawks beat the Giants, right? Or did the Giants beat the Seahawks? I can't remember. I think the Seahawks beat the Giants. But anyway, I think it's going to be the 6 seed, the Seahawks, and the 7 seed, the Commanders. So I think that's the playoffs. And it's going to be a phenomenal playoffs. I think it'll be Bills versus Chargers. That'll be bomb. Titans versus Bengals. And the Ravens versus Dolphins. Sounds good to me. It'll be Vikings versus Commanders. I think, Mo, you're right. Might upset that. 49ers versus Seattle. That's going to be a great game. It's divisional. That's in the air. Divisional games be in the air, man, when it comes to the playoffs. You want to go San Fran, but you never know. It's a divisional game. Plus, it's a playoff game. It's going to be interesting. And the Cowboys and Bucs. Dang. Playoff weekend. All right, Mo. We'll do that next week. Denver Broncos. Defensive lineman, man. Mike Purcell, he had words for the Russell Wilson. I'm not blowing it up. I don't think it was you know this. You played right. He gets passionate. I think he was trying to say, "Let's effing go. Let's go offense." Defense is doing the most that they can, right? You're the GM of the Broncos. Walton just hired you. Said, Mo, I need you to fix this mess. What moves do you make so the Broncos are a playoff team in 2022?
I'm gonna look at the owner. I'm gonna look at what's name like. Just a hard task you gave me. because let's look at it. You invested or shown that you didn't really want to get rid of wide receivers, because if you wanted to get rid of them, you would have traded them at the trade deadline. So you didn't get rid of receivers. What receiver? How Russell playing right now? What receiver really? What decent receiver that's going to make your playoff team is really signing up to go play there? Like, that's what you gonna need. You gonna need another receiver. I mean, running backs. It's you got to take a hard look at the O-line. The defense has been balling all year, so it's really not the defense. I mean, the secondary. Secondary has one or two people in it that might make some mistakes, but for the most part, that defense has been balling. So you got to take a hard look at this offense. What is it? Is the offensive line? You need to, you need to rebuild the offensive line through the draft. Hopefully, think you can get a free agent in there. But receiver wise, you ain't gonna be able to get no free agent. What receiver want to sign up to go to Denver? You got to draft. So, I mean, what receivers really, I have to look at this draft. What receivers really in this draft that's going to come in and make a Jordan Jefferson, a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase type impact with Denver year one? I got to look at the receiver pool. I don't know who's in this draft.
I looked at it the other.
It's some decent ones, but I'm saying as far as like come in and just.
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
The one from the dude from he was at Pitt and he went to USC. Jordan Addison, he good, but I don't think he's no outside the numbers. He's somebody you got to go to a specific offense and move him around, put him in the slot. He ain't gonna just line up outside every down and just ball out. Like, I don't think so. Like you gotta put him with the right offense coordinator. Now, on the right offense coordinator, the right system, dude could be different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just looking at what receivers are in this draft that's really gonna go to like Denver that Denver can get, and they will make them a playoff team, because the AFC ain't going nowhere. Like, you gotta look at it. What team drops off after this year?
Yeah.
Like, what team drops off after this year? I can't pick a team where I can say, okay, this team possibly drops off, and then what? Because honestly, the team that's dropping off right now, I think might get better, but I think they're gonna fire their coach is Chargers, and they're not in playoff contention right now. You got the Jets coming, you got Cincinnati who ain't going nowhere, you got Baltimore, you got all these teams, and then you got to think about it.
Bills, yeah.
You don't know what could happen the all season with the Colts and the Colts or a team like the Colts or the somebody else. Then you still got the Patriots who gonna still be around. They still gonna be humming around. The
Browns, Deshaun Watson.
Then the Browns might get better. So I don't know what you do. I think you work inside out. You go O-line, D-line, evaluate what you got, and then work from there.
Craig, you're the GM of the Broncos, man. Congratulations. Don't forget about us little people down here in Maryland. What are you doing as a GM in the Broncos to get them to the playoffs in 2022?
So this season?
No, I'm sorry, next.
2023
season. My bad. 2023. Next season.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of things actually. Team is just not good, and I said it before the season started when we did the little picks, and y'all looked at me crazy, and I said they weren't going to make the playoffs, and I think I said I bet they finished last place.
You did say that.
And
you did.
And y'all look, you
I looked at you.
I didn't think they were going to be this bad. But I thought
Corey picked them to win the division.
Yeah, he did, and I thought they
were made some bad picks this year.
Yeah, and I didn't know they were going to be this bad. But I just didn't have any faith in. I thought they may finish like 7-10, 8-9, or something like that. They're not going to get that. But I will say that they need to maybe think about. I know this is first time, and as a new head coach, you're not going to ever turn down. Look at Jeff Saturday. You're not going to turn down a head position for the most part. I know McDaniels did or whatever, but for the most part, you're not going to turn down a head coach.
McDaniels did.
For the Raiders. Remember, he turned down the job to become the coach. Then he went back to the Texans.
Oh yeah, Josh McDaniels. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, for the most part, you're not going to turn down being a head coach. So I don't really blame Nathaniel Hackett for taking this job.
Mm-hmm.
Being O coordinator with the Packers, obviously, it's not the same. You got Aaron Rodgers there, but I mean, you thought, this is a great position. All they need was a quarterback, and they got a quarterback, and they traded a lot to get the quarterback. They don't have a first round. Well, they do have a first round pick, but it's a late first round pick because it's 49ers first round pick who's going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what that pick's going to be versus Seattle now, who has right now the third overall pick. But they need to do something with the head coach. I mean, fire the head and the OC, because this team is averaging 14 points a game, which is last in the NFL. The defense is playing
crazy.
I mean, but it's the Broncos, so you already automatically know the defense is going to be playing crazy.
But they average 19 points, Craig. They'd be 9-1.
I mean, you could say that.
That's crazy.
I understand that's what Joe said, and I get it. I mean, it's a couple things that make
is bad.
That. But yeah, if you look at it just like that, yeah, I understand. They could be you said 9-1 or something, 9-2 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, yeah, they would have a winning record. The offense is just horrible. So they're 20th in passing yards. They're 24th in rushing yards, and I know they lost Williams. And then they had the whole issue with Gordon, and now they went out and they traded for Edmonds, and that he's hurt now, and so I mean they have issues there, but I mean, and then their total yards is 25th. Like I said, they're last in points.
Yeah,
they're giving up the 4th most sacks in the league, so the offensive line needs some help.
Yeah,
and it hasn't been there. I mean, they're really good as far as like pass blocking and all that and run blocking, but giving up and I understand that it's Russell Wilson back there, and he's going to get sacked a lot, but. I mean, they have to do better somewhere in the offensive line. They need more depth because a lot of injuries have happened for this team, and they lost some players. They got rid of some players, so they need to figure out a way to get some depth on that line on both sides, and just overall, like the secondary, they need to figure that out too because they need another cornerback outside of Patrick Surtain. So, and obviously, the man who's getting all the money, Russell Wilson's.
It's playing bad, man. It's playing bad.
Trash. I mean, he's not good at all this year. I don't know. I mean, just look at the whole team passer rating. 29th in the league. Third down percentage is 30th. Total passing touchdowns is 31st. And red zone scoring, as far as touchdowns go, is last. So, I mean, you got that working for you. You got Russell Wilson who only has 8 touchdowns with 8 touchdowns in 10 games. You're Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion Russell Wilson. All we need is one more player, one more piece for this team, which is a quarterback, Russell Wilson, and he comes out and has 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He has a career worst right now, passer rating to 82, career worst QBR at 32. 32?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Do you know who is below Russell Wilson when it comes to stuff like QBR and all that?
Zach Wilson?
It's not many. Okay, just QBR alone, just the quarterbacks who have played 7 games, started 7 games. It's Baker Mayfield last, Davis Mills second to last, and Russell Wilson third worst. I mean, looking at this passer rating, Russell Wilson is basically, as far as quarterbacks who started 7 games, again, he's 1, 2, 3, he's 6. And Cooper Rush is in there, Davis Mills is in there, Baker Mayfield, Kenny Pickett, Zach Wilson. Like, you're getting compared to all these like rookie or backup quarterbacks, or like Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's an experienced quarterback, but he's not that good. I mean, you're a Super Bowl champion. That's terrible. So also he has career worst passing completion percentage, career worst yards per pass. He's on pace to be sacked 56 times, which is going to be career worst for him. So he has a lot going for him that's negative. So you can't really get rid of him because you paid him all, and you traded all them picks for him. So he's there. So it's the coach, the head coach, it's some offensive line help. Their run defense is 19th. I forgot to say that. They need more depth, and Russell Wilson just has to play a lot better. He's he's horrible. And I thought I would never say that. I thought at least he would have a good year, even though I thought the Broncos would place in the division.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I didn't see this coming. This is horrible.
It's bad, man. And I'm a Russell Wilson fan, you know. So here's the thing. You said everything exactly right. My take is you got to get an offensive line. Offensive line is bad. Mo is right. You're right. Offensive defensive line is a must. The problem is I don't think they have any cap space because I think Russell Wilson's cap space in next year is 105. I think it's a 105 hit, if I'm not mistaken. And that's next year. So, but it starts with the head coach, and I think that you got to start there. You got to offensive line, defensive line depth, and it has to be coaching. So now, what coach? Yeah, that cap hit next year is 107. No, I'm sorry. It's 20. It's 22. Then 2024 is 35. Then 2025. The potential out is 2026 grade. That's when they can get out. Yeah, that's when they get out. That's when they get out. Yeah, and that's 4 years. And he has 124 million guaranteed. Yeah. So yeah, it's 2026. He'll be able to get out. I think it starts at I think you're right. I think the head coach is vital. I don't, I was listening to Mina Kimes and she said that job's not desirable. I was like, well, damn. She was like, think about it. Carolina's job is very desirable right now because they're going to have a quarterback. Houston job is desirable. Arizona job is desirable. The Chargers job is desirable. I don't know if the Broncos. Now, nobody's going to turn down the head coaching job. They're going to try it, especially if you coach. But I think they definitely need a head coach. I don't think Hackett has control of the locker room. And that's the first thing you got to get control of. So I think they need to hire a head coach that is – because, listen, Russell Wilson is at the age where he's not going to learn anything new, right? Well, he is, but I think that he has certain things in his game that is repetition and muscle memory. So you got to have a head coach that looks at what he does well and plays that he exceeds in and add that more into the playbook. This is coming from Sean Payton. He's on the Colin Cowherd show. And I like listening to him because he breaks down certain things as a head coach. And he says that with Russell Wilson, the first thing he would have did was watch all of his tape. All of his tape in Seattle and see what he does good, what he likes, and then implement that into the playbook. Because he said that what made him good in Seattle would make you good in Denver. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett did that because this is coming from a potential Hall of Fame head coach. I don't think he did that. He was like, you watch. I was like, damn. It's like you watch the last 5 years of what Russell Wilson's been doing and what he's good at. And then you implement it, So, and I like listening to him because he'll break down certain things. Like he says Andy Reid's red zone packages are probably sick, like 10,000 plays. He said usually you go to 8-10 plays. He probably has 1,000 red zone plays. And it's not just him. He listens to Patrick Mahomes, Eric Bieniemy, Kelsey. So he has a ton of plays constantly. But Andy Reid's on a different level, right? So he breaks that down. So it's just I think the head coaching matters, and I think the next coach they bring in there needs to have that vision for Russell Wilson, and they need to be on the same page. Which, if the quarterback and the head coach are on the same page, like in Miami, you see what that brings? Everybody's happy because you're winning. Winning cures all, right? So that's what they need to do. All right, Mo. Week 12 recap. What stood out? Any feelings? Any upsets about any losses?
Nah, not really. I mean, I think at this point, we won. You know what I'm saying? I'm super proud to see we won. I'm proud to see us finally run the ball. I feel like nothing got. Somebody said something to Scott Turner because he didn't just magically wake up. Like it's been there. The formula's been there. Some people might turn around and say, "Oh, Brian Robinson has emerged." Brian Robinson was there. Like he's been there. Even in the game, some of the games he wasn't there, he was there. We wasn't running the ball. So now we're running the ball. We're playing solid defense. We're playing confident. We're playing loose. You know what I'm saying? We're not making some of the same mistakes we've been made in the secondary over the past couple of years that's killed us. But still work to do. I think our wide receivers and the wild part is Curtis Samuels that fell off since like week 2 or 3. Like that's the scary part. We've been doing well, but Curtis Samuels hasn't been giving us much production. McLaurin's been giving us something. I like Dobson coming back. We've been getting the ball to Logan Thomas and running it well. So I like the momentum we going in. I think Miami's just on the run. Miami's gonna be scary, and if they can find a way to get a home playoff game, win the division, shoot. And the fact that people don't say this, but this the argument for Tua in games Tua started and finished, they're undefeated. They haven't lost a game yet that Tua started and finished. Like the game they lost that he started, he didn't finish that game. He got hurt. He got carted out of it.
Yep.
So but I mean we'll get to that, but I ain't gonna spill the beans yet around my feelings on that one. But also, some teams starting to separate the pack. I'm worried about the Ravens. I think they're going to win enough down the stretch to win the division, but I'm worried about them. I'm truly am. I think there's too much on Lamar. You know what I'm saying? That running game is not what it used to be, and there's too much on Lamar now, and they don't have the weapons for Lamar. It's getting exposed more than ever before. I truly hope they don't have to fade. The Bills will be their worst matchup for first round. I think the Bills can expose their weaknesses almost more than any other team that's in the AFC. I think that's a bad matchup for them first round. So I hope they don't have to play the Bills first round, but let's see how it ends. But that I think it was a good week, man. It was a good week overall.
Craig, week 12 recaps. What stood out?
Well, from the Thursday night games or the Thursday games, the Bills still look not all the way there yet. I'm still waiting to see. Like Josh Allen just doesn't look healthy still. I'm not sure if he's still dealing with something there. But I know the Lions were playing well, but I thought a lot of people thought this game was going to be a blowout, but the Lions kept it close and they almost pulled it out. So hats off to them for keeping it close. But the Bills still win, but they just don't look like the team that I thought was going to go to the Super Bowl right now. Still got time, so we'll see what happens. The Vikings. Another close game for them. Like I don't expect anything in a win besides a 1-possession game, and in a loss they're going to get blown out. So I thought the Bengals had a big win on the road against a playoff team, the team they might see in the first round. So I thought that they did it without Chase still. So I think and they also held Henry. Had like 50 yards or something like that.
They got a good defense, man. They got a good defense.
So
got good defense.
I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see that coming. The defense played well. We talked about the Jets. The Commanders look really good, especially running the ball in their defense. This is a big game for them coming up next week. I'm gonna get to them. The Chargers had a big game, a big win. I thought going for 2 was the right move, and they ended up winning that game. I thought if they lost that game, it'll put them 2 games back behind the Jets, that much further of a hill to climb. So they fortunately for them, they pulled it out. Seattle. I mean, that's a tough game to lose. You're losing that overtime. You couldn't stop the run at all. You let Jacobs go for almost 230. And I mean, just the way that game ended. And you're at home and you're trying to keep pace with the 49ers, trying to keep ahead of the Commanders. Now they fell behind the Commanders, so you got some tough games coming up again. But that was a win that I know that they let slip away from them, especially how good Geno played and the defense just couldn't stop anybody. And the 49ers and Saints, that was terrible. The Eagles don't, I don't know, man. Their defense, like as many people if they went out and they got free agency wise and to beef up that offensive or that defensive line, and like everybody's talking about how good the Eagles are and they've only lost 1 game, which is good for them, but they just haven't looked really good the last couple of weeks. Last week was a defensive, or 2 weeks ago was a defensive type of game, and they were able to come back last second basically and win that game. And then this week was a high scoring game. They even I don't know how they let Jordan Love come in and just throw a touchdown pass to Watson again. Like, so I'm trying to figure out what Eagles team is going to show up the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The Panthers unfortunately won. I mean, it's cool that they won because I want them to win games, but
you try to get that number 1 pick.
I want them to have the highest draft pick possible. I mean, look at the picks now. Like right now, they be sitting at 5th, and you got the Texans who are number 1. I mean, nobody's going to pass them. But you also have you have the Lions who are number 4 because they got the pick from the Rams.
You think the Lions took a quarterback?
I think they need a quarterback. I think they'll probably get a quarterback for the future. I mean, they got 2 first-round picks, but I mean, if the Rams finish with a worst record right now, like I said, they're 4th. I mean, they could easily take a quarterback there, and the Panthers would be their 5th, and they can take a quarterback. But I mean, the 2 top quarterbacks everybody's talking about are not going to be there. So, see what happens.
Yeah.
But and then the rest of the schedule, they have the 3rd easiest schedule. So I don't know if they're going to lose. I mean, they'll probably lose more games because they're the Panthers. But I want 4-8, maybe 5-12. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe whatever. But the Ravens, like, I'm starting to fall out of favor with the Ravens. Like Mo just said, like they don't have any weapons. The running game has just not been. They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2014. So, and that's, I mean, as far as a running back, not a quarterback. So, that was a while ago to think about it. And now you look at the team like the Jaguars, a team you should beat, and you're winning. Lamar did all he could do, and the defense just let him down again. I mean, sometimes it's Lamar. To me, it's Lamar's fault because he is the quarterback and all that stuff. But at the same time, the defense just lets him down left and right. They've been outscored in the 4th quarter in their losses, or not outscored, but they've given up 63 points in 4 losses in the 4th quarter. It's almost 16 points a game.
They should have beat Bills.
I mean,
Miami, Jacksonville.
I mean, if you look at the games that they lost, three of them have come within the last 14 seconds. 2 of them 14 seconds, and 1 of them at the buzzer with the game-winning field goal. So 3 games you had a chance to win, you lost it in the last 14 seconds.
Yeah, which is crazy because they're known for their defense.
That's crazy to me. The Jaguars are coming to that game. The history of the Jaguars, they're 0-180. They're 0-180 and 183.
Damn.
In the final minute when trailing by 7 or more points. And they come back and win that game. So now they're 1-183, which is ridiculous. So I don't know what to say about the Ravens team. I'm kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with them. I know they don't have a receiver, and Bateman, I don't know what his issue is and everything like that, man. But and it looked like they have an easy schedule, which they do. They have like the 3rd easiest now. But I mean, you're getting the Bengals again. You're getting the Browns this time with Deshaun. And it's just, I think it's another game in there as well. So they got the Steelers. It's a division game. You can't ever really go against that. So I don't know, man. I'm waiting to see what happens with this Baltimore team. I'm just not convinced that they'll be able to get out of the first round at this point.
Yeah, man, I agree with you with the Ravens. It was kind of shocking. Like again, like they look so good, but see, when the playoffs come around, it's about finishing and playing fourth quarters, and it could be one of those teams that lose in the first round because they held a lead. They held a lead going into the fourth quarter, and the team hits a last second field goal. I can definitely see that. The the interesting thing is, I don't know what's going on with Josh Allen. I think that injury is a little bit more serious, and because they lean on him more, I think they're going to continue to lean on him. But shout out to the Lions. Shout out to the Lions, man. Thanksgiving games were good. I watched all of them. It was bomb, man. That was some good games. Two of them broke records, I think. One had 41 and the other one had 41 or 42. So that's phenomenal. People are locked in the NFL right now. Patriots, Vikings. I was kind of shocked. Kirk Cousins came through. And I was shocked that the defense looked like that. I don't know. Patriots defense is just usually a little bit more tougher than me, and they're playing Kirk Cousins in prime time, and he showed out. Panthers beat the Broncos. You know that little Fox bet? I picked the Broncos to win. Wrong. We talked about the Bucs. Surprising. I picked the Bucs to win by 6. Wrong again. Dolphins look good. Bengals. The Commanders. Our defense definitely stepped up. We were getting gas in the run game. But I'm glad that they're finally running the ball. And they're using Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. You know what I'm saying? Like, Antonio Gibson might have lost his starting spot, but you better use him as a third down back. He used to be a receiver. He's phenomenal at catching the ball and running the ball. So you got a chance to just have 2 good running backs. I don't understand NFL teams when they have 2 good running backs. I'll be in the mindset of the Ravens, like, you're getting 20 touches and you're getting 20 touches. I don't know why teams don't do it. That's just me. Like, we're playing Commanders. We know they're going to run the ball. Yes, and you're going to have to stop it because I'm going to run the ball 40 times if I have 2 good running backs. I'm not, if I have Derrick Henry, I'm not going to run it 40 times, but I'm going to run it good amount. If I got Derrick Henry or Chubb, but this Chargers team, man, they are. I know I picked them to go to the playoffs, but they got to play better, man. They got to play better. And I don't know if y'all been watching Hard Knocks, but man, it's not fun to watch Hard Knocks when the team is losing like this. It's not. And Patrick Peterson came out and said something today that was interesting. He said Kyler Murray's not a leader. He's all about himself. So it's going to be interesting when they get another coach in there because he just threw the blame at Cliff Kingsbury's scheme, and he continues to do that. So it's just weird to me when people don't, especially quarterbacks, take accountability. So I know Sean Payton said that was a desirable job, maybe because he sees the potential in Kyler, and Kyler's the point where he could change and be molded. But it's hard to change attitude, man. The Rams look bad. Aaron Donald's out. This might be the worst Super Bowl hangover I've ever seen. They're bad, man. And they have no first round draft pick. The Lions got it. And they might have Lions might have looked up and got a top 3 pick because of that. Because I don't see the Rams winning. Now Aaron Donald's out. Nah. I just don't see it. The Saints. I don't know why they're not starting Jameis Winston, yo. I don't know why. they like Andy Dalton. To me, I don't see it. I would rather go with Jameis, and I'm wondering if that's having an issue to do in the locker room because I think a lot of players like Jameis. Jameis got hurt, and then he came out and was like, I got hurt. And then I lost my job because I got hurt. He was like, I didn't lose my job because of bad play. And he has a point, So, Packers, I like what I saw from Jordan Love. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to sit the rest of the season. I don't think they're making the playoffs. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. I think they'll be back. Packers are going to be one of those teams to watch out for next year. But I think they should, that'll be a topic for next week. But I would want to see what Jordan Love could do, man. With the last, they have a 3% chance to make the playoffs. So I don't think they make the playoffs at all. All right. Craig, breakout fantasy players.
All right, man. Okay. Well, quarterback, I'm going with Deshaun Watson just because he's playing his former team.
Yeah.
Are pretty bad. I think he's going to be pretty hyped for the game. I think the Browns going to be pretty hyped for the game. They're coming off of a big win against the Bucs. So I think it's going to be who knows what's going to happen for the rest of the season, but I think this first game at least is going to be a pretty big game for him. I think he's going to play well. My running back, I got Jamal Williams. I don't think Jamal Williams is a starting running back, but he's a vulture at this point. Like 4 of his last 5 games, he has 7 touchdowns total.
Mm-hmm.
I think he doesn't catch passes in the PPR league, but if he can get goal line touchdowns in general, and he gets like 60 yards in a touchdown, and that's 12 points or something like that. So I think he's going to be getting and Swift just still doesn't look healthy. He's not really getting the ball as much as Williams is. So going with Williams. My wide receiver, I actually have Chase. I think Chase is supposed to be back this week.
Yeah.
This is a perfect game for him to come back because this could be a shootout. And I think there are going to be a lot of points on the board as long as he can stay. As long as Chase is healthy, I like Chase. He's not in the top 10. He's number 15 according to this website. So I like Chase this week, and as long as he's healthy and he can go out there and make plays. Tight end, I don't know what happened last week to Higbee, but I was very disappointed because I had him on my fantasy team and I lost because he didn't get anything. He didn't catch a pass. He wasn't targeted. I don't know. I didn't watch the game because I wasn't home, so I don't know if he was hurt or what, but it was just straight 0. So I'm hoping down that Cup's out. Still, a couple Cup's been out.
But, yeah.
Allen Robinson's out. There's a lot of players going down for this team. So I'm hoping that with him and maybe Van Jefferson or something like that, they can step up. But I need Higbee to show up. And plus the Seahawks are the worst team against tight ends in fantasy. So I need Higbee to have a really good game. And my defense, right now, I picked 2 teams, but I'm sticking with the Packers because the Bears, I don't know what's going to be happening with Fields. I think if Fields plays and he's able to beat Justin Fields before the injury and move around and make plays out of the pocket, I don't know about starting the Packers defense, but as long as Fields is I think this week today he went through practice, he was limited, so he can't be Fields, then I wouldn't, I don't know. But on the other side, I also like just in case Fields does play and he's able to be Fields. I like the Broncos defense. They're playing the Ravens this week. The Broncos aren't really like I said, they're not a good team, but their defense shows up every week. So I don't see why they wouldn't show up against the Ravens, who, I mean, their offense is Lamar Jackson, and that's pretty much it. So,
all right, cool. Mo, who you got your fancy breakout players week 13?
I'm gonna go quarterbacks. I'm gonna go Deshaun Watson. I got him in one of my fantasy leagues. I'm gonna start him. I went on a whim and took him off the bench and started him. I done had him since he was suspended. So I want to see he do something for me, be worth it. Running backs, I think Najee Harris. I think he's been quiet. I think Brian Robinson, not to be a homer, but Robinson or Gibson, I'll take either one of them. I think either one or both of them going to have a huge game against the Giants. for what we're going to try to do. Wide receivers, he had a great game last week, but I think he's still not in the top 10. Garrett Wilson from the Jets. I think he came on an outburst about everything. You know, it looked like him and Mike White was in sync. Also, I'll go receivers. I'll go Curtis Samuel. I think Curtis Samuel's been due for a good game. I know it sounds like I'm a homer, but these are people who still are low on the totem pole that I feel like are due for a good game. Defense, I'm gonna take the Saints. I don't know if the Saints still top 10 or they fell out, but they held San Francisco 13. Like, you hold a team under 2 scores and still lose and get shut out. That's a problem. So I think their defense played as well as you could play, about ass. And I think against Tampa, they will come fired up because they know this their season. They lose this one, they might as well ask somebody for food or something. This ding. But yeah, that's my picks for that's my fantasy picks.
All right, for my fantasy breakout players, man, for quarterback, I am going Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to have a phenomenal game. He's playing Detroit. Detroit defense they give up a lot of points to quarterbacks, and he's been playing out a good game last week and a good game the week before. I think he shows out this week, man. I think Trevor Lawrence. Running back, I like your pick, Greg, of Jamal Williams. I was looking at a meme today, and it was like he has the definition of touchdown. So I would definitely go with Jamal Williams as a breakout player. Receiver, I'm going with Zay Jones, Jacksonville, man. Give me the quarterback receiver matchup. You know, give me the points. I think Zay Jones has been balling since his ankle injury. And I think Detroit, once again, they give up a lot of points. And I think him and Trevor Lawrence have a good rapport with each other. I agree with you on the tight end too. Tyler Higbee, I guess it depends on, I don't know how he got 0 targets, but they say he was hurt. But Seattle gives up a lot of points to tight ends. So I like that. And defense, you said Cleveland, right? What defense did you say, Craig?
I said the Packers.
The Packers. Yeah, I'm going. You said Packers, but I'm going Cleveland. I think Houston offense is terrible. Davis Mills is bad. You could probably start any defense against them. I tried to pick them up in my league; they were gone. I think the Browns defense is going to feast on Houston. And yeah, I do agree with that. Say that again.
Davis Mills don't start no more. They went to Kyle Allen.
Oh, they went to Kyle Allen. That's right. Bad. Both are bad. So it's gonna be interesting. And I do like Green Bay. I don't know what Fields is. I don't know if Fields is coming back or not. All right. Okay. Upset, right? I'm gonna go first for my upset there, Craig. Because I like this team, and I was talking not trash about them, but I like them, and I still think they could make the playoffs. But my upset pick, I got the Raiders beating the Chargers. I think the Raiders is a divisional game. I think the Raiders have been playing well as late. I think the offense is clicking, and I think they beat the Chargers. That's my one upset. And I know I picked the Chargers to go to the playoffs, so it's going to be interesting. But yeah. Who's yours, Craig?
I was trying to stay away from the who you got stuff, but I mean, none of these really are like playoff implicated type teams. So I had to pick one of those.
Yeah, which one?
I picked the Chiefs and the Bengals. I think the Bengals the Chiefs are 2-point favorites, but I just think the Bengals at home, they beat them last year, so they know a little bit what to do. As long as Mixon is back and he's healthy, and as long as Chase is back and he's healthy, that's 2 pieces that's coming back that you didn't have last week, but you went on the road last week and beat a Titans team who was 7-3, and now you get arguably the MVP of the league, and Patrick Mahomes, and you get him at home this time.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's going to be a shootout, and I just think that the Bengals can pull it out. I think as long as, like I said, as long as Mixon and Chase are good to go, I think they'll be straight.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Mo, upset. Who's your one upset week? What's your one upset pick?
I hate to say this one. I might change it later on, but I know y'all gonna look at me like, "Are you serious?" But it's just they scared me so far, so I wouldn't be surprised at this. I'm gonna say Denver upsetting Baltimore.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Baltimore scares me with the inconsistency to move the ball. I think right now in a defensive back and forth, I'm like, who's gonna make the better play? I think Denver might get them. I think they might pull off like a 20-17 type of win.
Okay. That's different. I can't listen. That's the whole point of upsets, man. You're supposed to pick crazy. Like I picked the Colts to beat the Eagles. It didn't happen, but I'm not gonna never get mad for an upset pick alert. Because that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something like crazy. You know what I'm saying? All right. My favorite time of the night. Drum roll. Boom, boom. Who you got? You know, now here's the funny thing. I'm gonna be honest. I did not put the Bills versus the Patriots because I don't think it's gonna be a good game. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's gonna be a last two games the Bills played the Patriots, they blew them out. I think they're gonna beat them again. They think they're gonna blow them out again. So I didn't put that on here because I feel like everybody would pick the Bills. Is that's out there? But I'm gonna start off with this one: the Jets versus the Vikings. Coaching. They're both good coaches, man. Salah's what he's done with the Jets and that roster is phenomenal. But I got to go with Kevin O'Connell because the Jets are the Vikings are in the second seed, and they put off some impressive wins so far. So this is going to be a big test for the Jets. But I got the coach. I got the Vikings. The offense. I got the Vikings. Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is probably the best receiver in the league. He said it before the year. He's like, I want to be the best receiver, and he's proven it week in and week out with his consistency. So I got the Vikings offense. Defense, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think the Vikings defense they don't have one. It's non-existent. They don't have a good defense, which is going to haunt them in the playoffs because I believe they're the only team they're averaging 23 a game, but they're giving up 23. So this is not good. It's not good at all.
All right.
Yeah, that's not good, man. So I got to give it to the Jets. I think this game is going to be very good, and this is a very good test for the Jets. Like Craig said earlier, the Vikings are going to be close. All the games are going to be close. And for this one, I got the Vikings pulling it out. I think that the Jets are there, but they just haven't arrived yet. And I don't think they have enough. I don't want to say offensive power because the Vikings defense isn't good. But I still think the Vikings win, man. And I think it's going to be a close one. I think the Vikings win 23-20. All right, Mo, Jets versus Vikings. Who you got?
Jets versus Vikings. Head coach, I'm gonna go O'Connell. I mean, no disrespect to Robert Slayer, but I like the culture that McDaniels has brought to the Vikings. Especially after everything went on with Zimmer. Losing all them close games. I think the energy has been brought. Offensively, I'm gonna go with the Vikings. Dalvin Cook, Jefferson, Fields coming along, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Defensively, I'm gonna go with the Rams. I mean, my bad. I'm gonna go with. I mean, let's quote it right quick. My bad. Who they playing again?
It's Jets and Vikings.
Yeah, Jets. My bad. I'm gonna go with the Jets defense. My bad. Misquoted. I'm gonna go with the Jets defense. I think their defense has played well. They've held teams under 20 points. I think they've held like the last 3 or 4 or 5, last couple opponents under 20. If I'm not mistaken, maybe the last 3 or 4 opponents under 24. If I'm not mistaken. So I like their defense. Game overall, I'm gonna go. I think Jets are gonna be hungry. I think they're gonna keep it going. I'm gonna go Jets in a close game. I'm gonna go Jets. I'm gonna go 31-27. Jets.
All right. Craig, Jets versus Vikings. Who you got?
For the coach, I'm going with Robert Salah. I think the job. I mean, the Jets being this. I mean, as far as the record, they're 7-4, I believe. So I didn't see him at 7-4 at this point in the season. Maybe 4-7, and then the fact that he had Wilson in there, and they went 5-2 with Wilson in there with how he played, and they lost Brees Hall. And like all the issues with their offense and players, they had both receivers basically calling the team out, and everything that happened there. But I'm sticking with him. Plus the strength of schedule. He's had some tough games in there, and right now they're sitting at they're tied for 5th, or excuse me, tied for 4th as far as the strength of schedule as far as games. So got to give him credit for that. The offensive side, though, I got to go with the Vikings. I mean, anytime you have Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Kirk Cousins is he's mediocre, but I mean, at least he finally showed up for a primetime game and played well.
Surprising
for that. Yeah, he did. That's rare. But the offense looks really good. And besides that one game where they played a terrible Bears team who don't really have a defense, and they didn't have Fields, so the offense for the Jets look really good. Now if they can duplicate that and have another really good game on the road against a 9-2 Vikings team, then I might change my opinion on the Jets offense going forward. Defensive side, though, I got to go with the Jets. The Vikings are I didn't even know this till just now. The Vikings are a +5 in terms of point differential. I didn't know that the Titans are a +4. It's terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
the Vikings differential is crazy, yeah.
And you got the Bucs at -3, and they're all leading the division. But I say that because I think that the Jets, the way their defense is playing, they're only giving up 196 total points, which is second best in the AFC behind the Broncos. So their defense is playing well. They're getting after the quarterback. They're making plays out there, which is once again something I never thought I'd say about the Jets. The Vikings defense looks good on paper, but they just haven't really been able to put it together overall. So for this game, though, I think I'm picking. It's tough. I'm still not convinced about the Jets yet. I want to see what happens with Mike. What's his name? Mike White.
Mike White. Yeah.
One more time. See if they can go out there and put it together. See if they can get this running game going again. Because I know Carter got hurt last week, so see what happens there. But I'm picking the Vikings. I think once again it's going to be a close game. I don't know if they're going to ever beat a team by more than one score. So until they can do it, I'm going to be picking every game one score that we talk about this team. So I'm going 27-23 Minnesota.
All right, Mo. Commanders versus Giants. Who you got?
Coaching wise, I got. If you would ask me this question maybe a couple weeks ago, I might have said Dayball. But now I'm gonna go Ron Fair. I think the job he won when it's 7 out of 8. He didn't win last 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8. And with all the turmoil with the ownership, just getting your running back, all the stuff going on. I think it's I think he's done a great job. I think Rivera's done a heck of a job. Offensively, I'm gonna go with us. Even though Saquon Barkley, you got a Saquon Barkley type person, but I feel like overall, I think our receivers are definitely better than theirs. I'll take. We can we really sit here and say we really would 10 toes down take Daniel Jones over Heineke? With your money on the line? So it's like that's kind of a wash. So I definitely would say our defense, you know what I'm saying? When they, when we're locked in, I think we're better than Giants man for man across time, across the board. I think it's gonna be a dog fight, man. I think it's gonna be an old school black and blue. Get the whirlpool ready after the game is over. Make sure all the salt is in there. I think it's gonna be a pound of game. And I think we're gonna end up pulling it out 20-17.
All right. Craig, Commanders versus Giants. Who you got?
Coaching wise, just like most said, if this is a few weeks ago, I probably would have said Brian DeBoer. He was actually at one point people were saying Coach of the Year, and they lost the last 3 or 4 versus the Commanders who won 6 of 7. So I mean, it's just not even close at this point. I gotta go with Ron Rivera, the job he's done. I don't know if making a switch to Taylor Heineke was the right move, was the move, or them just finding the running game, or just all just happened to click at one time. But I got to give it to the Commanders there. Offensive side, I'm sticking with the Commanders again. Saquon Barkley is the only person that scares you really on that roster for the Giants, but he hasn't played well the last couple of weeks, which is surprising because they played the Lions and he couldn't run the ball against the Lions. I can understand the Cowboys, but the Cowboys, their running defense for the most part hasn't been. I mean, they've been giving up a lot of big runs,
yeah.
So that was surprising as well. But Saquon's still Saquon. We'll have to see what he can do. But I think the problem is that the Commanders have a really good front four, and I mean they're really stopping the run, especially the last 7 games or so.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless you're a quarterback that can scramble like a Justin Fields or something like that, and even then Justin Fields wasn't doing that when they played the Bears earlier, when they beat them 12-7. So Daniel Jones is not a scrambler, so I mean, I don't really see them. I don't know what Barkley's going to do. I'm kind of thinking about benching him this week as far as fantasy goes. I have a better option. So I'm sticking with the Commanders there. Plus, like most said, they had better receivers. The quarterback is probably even, but I think the way Taylor Heineke's playing the last couple of weeks I boosted him over top of Daniel Jones. Defensive side, I got to go with Washington again. I think Washington's defense the last couple of weeks they've been playing crazy. So they beat the Eagles. They shut the Eagles down. Now the Falcons and the Texans is what it is. But they beat the Packers, which I didn't see coming. They beat the Colts, which I thought was going to be a loss as well. They handled the Vikings like they were right there. They could have won that game. So they actually could have won 7 games in a row. This would be a whole different conversation or that conversation we had earlier about who's going to make the playoffs would be a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But as far as this game goes, it's going to be a tough one because I remember. So Mo, you still think if the Commanders lose at least one of these games to the Giants, that Ron Rivera should be fired at this point? And isn't that what you said? That they lose one?
Nah, we lose both.
I'm losing both. Okay.
Yeah, we lose both. I'm sorry.
Really?
Even with this run, if we lose both, I got problems.
Golly.
If we hold on. All right, hold on. All right,
you still firing them?
All right, hold on. Let me change context. If we lose both and then don't make the playoffs, at least need to be a conversation. I ain't saying going to 5-5, but he need to be in the office for a long conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah. Okay. I think they're gonna get a split. I think they're gonna lose one of these games. Maybe. I think it's kind of hard because it's a divisional game.
Yeah.
Those are always tough to pick, even though it could be the worst team against the best team. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna lean slightly towards the Giants just because they're at home. I think they know that this is a must-win game for them because they're starting to slip out and they've lost 2 games in a row, 3 of the last 4.
Yeah.
You want to go down any further? You got the Seahawks there, you got the Commanders breathing down your neck, and you're starting to just lose games left and right at this point. And then you got the Eagles coming up, followed by the Commanders again, and then the Vikings.
They got tough. They got a tough little.
Yeah, they got 4 division games in the last 5 or 6 games. So that's going to be in the last 6. So that's going to be tough. So I got to go. I think this is a must-win game for the Giants. So I got to go Giants 20-17.
All right. Coaching, I agree with both of y'all. I think it was Ron Rivera. I think he's done a good job. I think sticking more to the run game, elevating the defense. and sticking with Heineke. I'm not a believer, fan of Heineke, but if we go to the playoffs with him starting, I mean, you got to bring him back. I'm scared about that, but whatever. He was 7-8 as a starter, so it's not totally bad. I think he just, it's kind of like Jimmy G, where he just needs everything to be perfect for him to win. But Craig did say this. He said, wait till Ron's third year. So I don't know if Ron very safe because it looks like we might have new ownership. I don't know. They might get rid of the whole, how that is. Offense, I got to go with the Commanders. Listen, Curtis Samuel, Dotson's back. I don't know if he's 100% healthy, but he's on the field. Terry McLaurin, who's probably top 10 receiver in the league right now. You got two good running backs, Gibson and Brian Robinson. They're like thunder and lightning. Logan Thomas is a good tight end. The Giants, I like Slayton, but they got a lot of injuries on the offense side of the ball. They only got Saquon. And they've been losing a lot. So I got to go offense, the Commanders. Defense, I got to go to Commanders. We're 7th now in the NFL. And Craig, you're right. We got one of those defenses where teams don't, like the Vikings didn't just go off on. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the last second game-winning drive. So, and they only scored 20 points. So our defense is playing good, and it's kept us in. The Giants' defense, I just looked it up. They're giving up 138 rushing yards, and that's not good at this time of year, man. This time of year, it should be the opposite. You should be stopping the run because teams tend to start running more when it gets cold. And your defense needs to this is the time of year if you want to make the playoffs, your defense has to step up. So I'm going Commanders defense. I'm going Commanders winning this game. I think it's going to be an ugly game, divisional game. I think the fact that the Giants have too many injuries on the offensive line and the receiving core. Saquon has been playing good. I don't think he goes off. This is a bad matchup, Craig. If you have him in fantasy, I wouldn't start him. And I think the Commanders win. Not easy. It's going to be, I think we win 20-16. So, all right, Craig. Titans versus Eagles. Who you got?
Okay. Coaching wise, I'm sticking with Sirianni. Obviously.
Okay. Better record.
Yeah. I think the job Mike Vrabel has done with everything that's been going on, with especially after starting out the season 0-2. Like the team has won 7 of their last 9 games. They could have won that game against the Bengals. They could have won a game against the Chiefs. This team could be 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they could be. Think about it. It could be 10-1. It could have beat the Giants early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
They lost. Decisive loss was to the Bills. So I think Mike Vrabel has done a great job with this team because I didn't think they would win the division. I didn't think they would make the playoffs. But it looks like now it's just smooth sailing to the playoffs at this point, and another division for them. So
another division win for them. I'm not picking the Colts, man.
I can't pick the Colts next year.
I'm not picking the Colts next year.
I picked them like the last 3 years in a row.
Hey, me too. They let us down.
But yeah, I think obviously, I mean, just because they're 10-1, they haven't really looked good the last couple of weeks. But just because they're 10-1, I'm going with Sirianni. On the offensive side, I still have to go with. I got to go with the Eagles still. I think what the Eagles have done the last pretty much all season, they've started to get Sanders involved in the running game. Like he hasn't really been there the last couple of years as far as running the ball. He's running the ball a lot more, and a lot better. They have 2 good receivers. Unfortunately, they lost Goddard, so that's something they have to deal with. I think it's supposed to come back though before the season's over, or come back at least for the playoffs. So, maybe he'll be back. But they still have AJ Brown. AJ Brown needs to figure out how to hold on to the ball. The last couple of weeks, he's fumbled the ball in bad spots that could have cost the team like the entire game. But unfortunately, they were able to figure out a way to get into the end zone and get a couple stops. So, but he's got to figure that out. I know he's probably can't wait to get back and play against his former team, and he's going to be just like Deshaun Watson is going to be pumped up and going to be ready to go and all that. But he's got to figure out a way to hold on to the ball. Tennessee, I got trying to figure out what's wrong with their running game. Like their running game, at least the last couple of weeks, it just hasn't really been there. 38 yards for Derrick Henry last week on 17 carries. That's just unacceptable. I know they don't have a true number one, but Treylon Burks is back. Robert Woods is there still. Ryan Tannehill, he's serviceable. But I think we have Jalen Hurts on the other side who can run and pass, and you have some really good receivers and a good running game. I can't pick against them. Defensive side, man. I really want to say the Eagles because on paper it looks like the Eagles should be there, but against Commanders, and then the way they looked against Green Bay, even though Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers, but their record just doesn't really reflect it. And then they let Jordan Love come in and throw a touchdown pass, and he looked really good. I got to go with the Titans, man. I think the way the Titans looked the last couple of weeks, they played the same Green Bay team, only allowed 17. And that was in Green Bay. They played the Broncos. The Broncos are terrible, but they played the Chiefs tough, lost by 3. So they've had some games in here that have all been close. Pretty much every game besides that Packers game have been close. They've been able to eke these wins out, and their defense has been stepping up. The Eagles defense, I'm still waiting for them to have that same impact that they had earlier in the season when they played the Vikings and they played the Commanders. Like they really, ever since that game against the Commanders, they gave up 21 to the Jaguars, and they have been inconsistent. So, but I do think that the Eagles get this win. I think the Titans need it more because even though their division is terrible and they're going to win the division, I think just for the momentum and then beating the team who's going to the playoffs where they had a chance to last week against the Bengals. This is another team to have a chance to go to the playoff. When you beat the Texans, okay, you beat the Broncos, okay, cool. But when you play a team like the Bengals or the Eagles or the Commanders or the Bills, like these are Ravens, these are teams that are going to the playoffs and you need to show what you're made of. But I think the Eagles pull out another close one. I'm going 24-20. I think AJ Brown has a big game, and I think they pull it out.
All right, Titans versus Eagles. Coaching, I'm gonna go Vrabel, man. Sirianni's no disrespect to him, but I just think Vrabel's been doing a better coaching job. For what he has, it's crazy. He's a phenomenal head coach. You gotta keep him by any means necessary, man. He's just one of those. He's just a good head coach. He has it. He's been ever since he's been in Tennessee. He wins. Like this year, I was like, "Oh, the coach got it." Nope, he's winning. he wins, and he wins games that matter. And they play tough opponents. They play them tough, man. Offense, I gotta go Eagles. Jalen Hurts is in the MVP conversation. They got good running backs. They got Devontae Smith. They got AJ Brown. AJ Brown should have a revenge game against them. I think it's the offensive side of the ball has to go to the Eagles. I love Derrick Henry. Right, Tannehill is serviceable. Derrick Henry's probably best running back in the league. It's always in that conversation. But they haven't been running it this time, so this would be a good opportunity for them to. The Eagles got a good defense, so let's see if they're going to run the ball and see if they can run the ball against this Eagles defense. Speaking of defense, I'm with you, Craig. I'm gonna go with the Titans. And this game is very worrisome because, I I think that the Titans are going to have, because they're playing better on defense, if the Eagles aren't in offensive rhythm, they could lose, man. But I think the Titans defense is just playing better than the Eagles defense right now. Now the Eagles defense, I looked it up. They have the second best defense in the league, but I think who you got is based on matchups, and I think the Titans defense is better than the Eagles defense right now. And I think this is going to be a close game. I think AJ Brown plays good. Craig, I think you're right. I think the Titans show up, and I think the Titans win this game. And I'm just saying that because they played all these other teams close. And I think that we saw when the Eagles lost to the Commanders, it's kind of like Rocky IV. He's cut. I think that I think the Titans are going to run the ball. And they're going to control the clock and play good defense. And I think it's going to be a close one, though. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. But I got the Titans winning 27-20. All right, Mo. Titans versus Eagles. Who you got?
Offense, I got Philly. Defense, I'm gonna go with Philly. Special teams.
No,
Philly.
we do offense, defense, and coaching.
Oh, all right. I'm going Coaching, I'm gonna take Philly coach. I mean, no respect to Vrabel, the job he's done. Despite everything going on, because it was a time people was talking about it's time to put the young dude in. But Malik Willis. So I mean, shout out to him and keep steering the course. Like I said, offense, I'm gonna take Philly. Defense, I'm gonna take Philly. Man. I think Philly gonna win this game 24. I'm gonna take Philly. I'm gonna take Philly 24 to. It's gonna be a tough one. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them 27-17.
Okay. Oh, okay. Philly's kind of like a little 10-point. Okay, plus 10. All right. Dolphins versus 49ers. Coaching, I have, give it to my man Mike McDaniels. I think he's done a wonderful job. I don't know, man. Shanahan's a good coach. This is a tough one. This is gonna be a good game. I gotta go. Mike McDaniels. The job that he's done with Tua and the way that he has the team playing right now, they're playing like one of those teams you don't want to play in the playoffs. Like, I don't want to play Miami. I don't want to play them. And Tua wins, man. And he's accurate. And he's mature, you know? So I'm going to give it to Mike McDaniels. I love Shanahan, though. That's one of my favorite coaches. Just because I used to like the Broncos growing up, and I just liked his dad, you know. And I just like Shanahan as a coach. Anyway, offense, I got to go Miami. I think Tua's a better quarterback than Garoppolo. And then Miami, I don't know if people understand this. Tyreek Hill's leading the league in receiving yards, but Jalen Waddle's like 7th. That's crazy. Let me make sure I got that right, but I'm pretty sure in receiving yards, Jalen Waddle was 5th and Tyreek Hill is 1st. That's crazy. So I gotta go offense, the Dolphins. But I love 49ers offense because of Debo Samuel, but I think Tua is a better quarterback than Garoppolo. Hands down. Defense, I gotta go 49ers. I think the Dolphins defense plays good in spots. But I think the 49ers are the best defense in the league right now. They just come off a shutout win against the Saints. And listen, I know it's against the Saints, but you know, they're a bad team. But having a shutout in the NFL is hard. right? It is. I think it's hard to keep teams out, and the Saints aren't like the Saints are better than the Texans. Let's just say that. Like I'm just surprised the Saints didn't score at least 7 or 3. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, So I defense, I gotta go 49ers. I think this game is going to be the game of the week. I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are going to give the San Francisco defense fits. But the problem is they might get pressure on Tua. And I don't know if Miami's defense is going to be able to combat 49ers offense. What I mean by saying is I think the Miami defense isn't going to be able to stop Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. And I think that this is the first time that Tua loses a game, but he's going to lose it to San Francisco. This could be a Super Bowl matchup, guys. We don't know. Could be a Super Bowl matchup. And I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad at that. I would not be mad at that. The questions come up. Do you pay Jimmy? But anyway, so I got San Francisco 49ers winning this game. I got them winning 28-24, 49ers. Mo, 49ers versus Dolphins. Who you got?
Offense. Coaching wise, I got. Coaching wise, I'm gonna go with Shanahan. I like what the coach has done. I like what the coach has done at with them, with Miami, but I'm gonna go San Fran, take Shanahan. Offense, I'm gonna go Miami. I'm definitely gonna go Miami's offense. Defensively, I'm gonna go San Fran. I don't care who you played. You haven't allowed a touchdown in the second half in 4 games. That's just crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and rock with San Fran on that one. I think I don't know why. I think it's got the makings of a shootout. I know people say, Jimmy G can't hang, but I think it's got makings of a shootout, man. I'm gonna go, and for some reason I think San Francisco's defense is gonna get tested, but they're gonna make enough plays when it counts. I'm gonna go into its first loss this season for starting and finishing. I'm gonna go ahead with San Francisco 38-30.
Woo! Man, if that's the score, and then we see these two teams in the Super Bowl, phenomenal. Craig, Dolphins versus 49ers, who you got? This is gonna be a good one, man.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a good game as well. For the coach, I'm going with McDaniels. I think both coaches done a really good job, but I think that obviously 8-3, and they beat the Bills when the Bills were playing well before the injury happened. Excuse me. And the only like everybody said, the only games that they've lost have been when Tua was either hurt or didn't finish the game, or didn't play or didn't finish the game. So down the last 5 games, they haven't played anybody really. Steelers, Lions, Bears, Browns, Texans. So now they finally get a test here, and rest of the season pretty much is going to be a test for them. Even though one of those games is against the Packers, but it could be Aaron Rodgers in there. Who knows? But they got a lot of road games left. A couple games are going to go to cold weather places, and I think this is a big time challenge, and probably the biggest challenge of the season since the Bills game, maybe. You think about it. Man, this is tough. But yeah, I think
it's tough.
It's tough. Offensive side, I'm going with the Dolphins. I know Christian McCaffrey's on the 49ers, and they just got Elijah Mitchell back, and they have Debo and Brian Ayuk and George Kittle. But those 2 receivers that Miami has, and they with Hill and Waddle, they still have Mostert.
Gesicki the tight end. I think that's how his name, right? Is it Kaseki?
Mike Gesicki. But I mean, I just think that Tua is playing way better than Jimmy Garoppolo, and I think Tua is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Jimmy Garoppolo has benefited a lot from being on this team. With you can put Tua on this 49ers team, and they'll be just fine. You can put a lot of quarterbacks on this team, replace Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I would think if Trey Lance was healthy, this team would be just fine. I mean, if they got the same players, McCaffrey and all them, this team is perfect. They're a good team still. So I just don't, lucked up because of the defense, which is, I'm taking the 49ers defense. I think the defense, like Mo said, they haven't given up a second half touchdown in the last 4 weeks. And like you said, James, the defense, it's hard to shut out a team in the NFL, regardless of who it is or who is at quarterback or whatever. Unless it's like you're playing a wide receiver at quarterback, like the Broncos did.
Like the Broncos did. Yeah.
It's hard to really shut out a team. So I got to go with the 49ers defense. The defense, I mean, arguably the best in football, if not the best, especially the last 4 weeks. They've played like the best. This is the Dolphins. This is a big test for the Dolphins. A road game against a really good team who has a chance to go to the Super Bowl now that they got pretty much everybody healthy on defense, and then they got a running back and all that. But Miami, I think they might answer this call here and pull off an upset. But I can't pick them. I got to go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers I want to pick the Dolphins so bad, but I think the defense for the 49ers, I don't think it's Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do much. Well, he might do something, but I don't think he's going to be the reason why they win this game. I think it's the 49ers defense is going to be the reason why they win this game. And they're going to make just enough plays late in the game to hold off the charge of the Dolphins. So I'm going 28-23. San Francisco wins this game.
Oh man, yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I can't wait. I love games when it's two good teams that have beaten good teams, and it's like, let's see where the road meets the rubber. All right, Craig, last one. This is another one. Chiefs versus Bengals. Craig, who you got?
Coaching, I think I'm gonna still stick with Andy Reid just because.
I would say Zach Taylor.
Zach Taylor is he.
We were wrong about him. We were wrong about him, man.
Yeah, we were. Man, this is tough because Andy Reid is. I mean, he has the MVP on his team, Patrick Mahomes, and his team just. I mean, they don't have Hill anymore, and they're trying to figure out a receiver. They don't have any running backs. CH is gone, and I mean, running game has been non-existent, and Patrick Mahomes is still putting up points. And then on the other side, you got Zach Taylor, who, I mean, once again, a lot of people didn't think they were. You thought they. I think you picked them not to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
James. Yeah. So I mean, and then they started out pretty bad, and then they got better, and then they lost.
Like, yes, and then I was like, damn, they won 4 in a row.
Yeah, it's tough. I think I'm gonna lean slightly towards Andy Reid just because of the job that he's done, and the team is 9-2. But Zach Taylor, I mean, you can't take nothing away from him. His team is playing phenomenal. Offensive side, I'm going with the Chiefs. Like I said, even without a running game, even without Hill, their offense pretty much still looks basically the same. Like, you can't really take anything away from their offense. And the Bengals, like I said earlier, with the fantasy football stuff and everything, I'm still waiting to see what happens with Mixon. I think he's back from the concussion, and Chase is back this week. So these guys are probably going to play, but I don't know what kind of percentage they're going to be. If they're going to be 80%, 90%, or what. So I got to go with the Chiefs offense there. Defense, the Chiefs defense is actually sometimes they look pretty decent. Look pretty, but I got to go with the Bengals. I think the job that they did last week, holding Derrick Henry to only 38 yards rushing, and a couple weeks ago they destroyed. I mean, it's the Panthers, but I mean they destroyed them. The Steelers put up a fight, but they were able to hold them off. I think the defense is starting to play a lot better. Still trying to figure out the Chiefs and what their defense is, but I think they're playing. I mean, last week they played the Rams. The Rams are not the same team anymore. So I think this is a big test for both teams. Definitely. It's a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year. The Chiefs blew the halftime lead, and I think they're gonna blow this game. I got the Bengals winning this game. I think it's gonna be they're only 2-point underdogs, but I think it's an upset. So I picked them for the upset of the week thing. I'm still sticking with them. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I can't wait to watch this game. Kind of confused. I know why they don't flex this game in the Sunday nights because they got the Cowboys on.
Yeah, so, they're not doing that.
Regardless of who they're playing, it seems like. So, unfortunately, it's going to be a 4:25 kick, but I'm going 37 to 31. 37-31 Bengals.
Mo, Chiefs versus Bengals, who you got? Mo. Oh, you might be
Oh, yeah. I'm inviting went out. My bad. There we go.
You good. Chiefs versus Bengals, who you
got? Coaching. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Andy Reid. The job he's done. I mean, I'm not going, and I'm not even going off of what you done for me, past. I'm not going off past about what you done for me lately. The job he's done with this team has been phenomenal. This has probably been one of his better coaching years. I like what they're doing. I like how they're looking. On both sides of the ball, they're making plays when they need to be made. Defensively, I'm gonna go offensively. Let's go offense. Offense. If Chase and Mixon are back, I understand Mahomes, but I'm talking about overall. I'm gonna go with Kansas City. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. Like, I understand Mahomes, but I'm saying if overall talent, overall structure, if you get Mixon Chase back to go with Higgins and Boyd, I mean, with Mixon, I like Cincinnati. With their tight ends, Hurts and tight end. Defensively, I'm gonna go Cincinnati. I think they're gonna I like their defensive front. They're making plays, they've been flying around, they understand the moment. This is gonna be a tough. This is gonna be a real tough game. But I think I'm gonna go Indy with a late go-ahead touchdown, maybe at the end of the game or something like that. I'm gonna go maybe 27-23.
Who's gonna win?
Kansas City.
Kansas City 27-23.
Yep.
With a late touchdown. Okay, I can see that. Coaching. Let me tell you something, man. We were wrong about Zach Taylor. I think he's a good coach. You got to give it to him. And they got Joe Burrow, right? Which makes it easier. But I did not have them going to the playoffs, and now they're in contention. But I gotta go with Andy Reid. Just as they have number one seed in the AFC right now. Patrick Mahomes is playing phenomenal, man, and this is without Tyreek Hill. Can you only imagine if they had Tyreek Hill this year? It wouldn't be fair. They might be undefeated. We might be having a conversation right now of we might be having that conversation. Like, the Chiefs hasn't lost a game yet, right? Because I don't know. You have the best tight end, and then you have the best receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But Andy Reid's just done a phenomenal job, man. And it's so funny. I listen to podcasts, and players love Andy Reid. I was listening to podcasts. Andy Reid told Michael Vick, he said, if I had you in Atlanta, we would have won a Super Bowl. I was like, damn. But players love Andy Reid. He pushes them. LaShawn McCoy loves him too. So offense, I gotta go Chiefs. Only thing is, I'm not gonna go Bengals because I agree with Craig. I don't know the snap count of Jamar Chase. You know, hip injuries are serious, and we know this. If you've missed 6 games in the NFL, you gotta get back in the game shape. Now he might come out and ball, but I gotta see it first. But I gotta pick Patrick Mahomes, who's the best player in the NFL right now, and Travis Kelce. I gotta go with them two on offense. Defense. I'm gonna go with the Bengals, but Craig, you want to hear an interesting stat? The Bengals are 13th in total defense, and the Chiefs are 14th. And they both give up. Cincinnati gives up 21 points a game, and the Chiefs give up 22. Their defenses are really like close, but I'm gonna give the edge to Cincinnati. I like their no-name defense, and their defense is playing well, man. Like I gotta give it to them. Cincinnati Bengals was a good team. I was wrong about them, you know. I was wrong about them, wrong about the Broncos, but yeah, I didn't have the Broncos win the division though. I'll take. I had the Chiefs, but anyway, I'm not picking. I'm always gonna pick the Chiefs to win that division unless Patrick Mahomes is not there. Kind of like how the Patriots were when they had Tom Brady and Belichick. It doesn't matter who was in that division. It's like I gotta pick Tom Brady and Belichick. That's how the Chiefs are. But anyway, this is gonna be a great game. I think it's gonna be a rematch. Travis Kelce's looking forward to it. It's in Cincinnati. I think Patrick Mahomes has got that bad taste in his mouth because he could have gone to the Super Bowl. And I'm not gonna lie. Chiefs last year Chiefs versus last year Rams Super Bowl. Oh man, I don't know who I'm picking in that game. I don't know because I don't know, right? So I think Patrick Mahomes comes out, make a statement, and listen. If the Chiefs are down, it doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes wins in November, December. I think he's lost one game, and that was to the Titans when he came off the knee injury. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? That's 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He wins, young. He wins a lot in November, December. So I got the Chiefs winning. It looks like they're gonna go back to Super Bowl again, but I got the Chiefs winning 27-24. It's gonna be a close one, but I got them winning. It's gonna be a good game. There's some good games this week. I'm not gonna lie. When I looked at it, I was like, golly, it's like 6. Who you got? It's important. It's important games, man.